Welcome back to Invasive Brews, everybody, and on today's episode, we're on our way to the state of Kentucky. And when most people think of the state, they think of the Kentucky Derby.
He is 7th. Mendelson is off the pace today, racing in 8th. Free drop Billy.
Or even Kentucky Bourbon. But here in this state, there is a $12.5 billion industry that most overlook, and that's outdoor recreation. And fishing is a large chunk of that industry. Now, there is a fish that is hurting those numbers and the native ecosystems. That's what brings me here today. I've made it to Kentucky Lake, a 250 square mile lake that connects the Tennessee River to the Ohio River. I'm headed out with commercial fishermen to get a first-hand account of the efforts going into the control of the Asian carp species, primarily silver carp.
Sick 8-month-old and the more eyebrows you raise higher up the ladder, the better chance we have of, like you said, getting more subsidy, getting more infrastructure, I mean, we need 3 or 4 places where we can get ice and drop fish off fresh, and get them flash froze.
And they do fertilizer, pet food. What do they do?
Bone meal, yeah. They do fish meal. There's another market in Eddyville, Kentucky, that it doesn't pay as much, but you don't have to ice your fish because they're just getting made into fertilizer.
Introduced in the early 70s, silver carp are one of 4 species under the title of Asian carp, along with bighead, grass, and black carp. Both silver and bighead carp were brought over for their ability to clean aquaculture and sewage lagoons, feeding primarily on the phytoplankton and zooplankton, which happens to be the staple of all aquatic ecosystems. We are going to be setting gill nets today to try to catch these filter feeding behemoths.
They're in here good. Yeah, just remember, like when you throw that out, try to get the lead line over the front corner of the boat, you know what I'm saying? Just so it kind of keeps itself away from the float. And then just hurry up, come back. Once you pull out just a little bit, get around the back of it so you don't get tangled up in it or nothing. Okay, go ahead and throw her out. Yep, pull out a little bit. There you go. Okay. Yep, perfect. Come on back behind and just let her go. Unless that float line snags, you shouldn't have to do much.
And once the nets are set, we have to drive the fish into them. How do you do that? Make noise. It's pretty easy to see the impacts of this invasion and the sheer numbers of the fish. And it's also a good idea to watch your back. As Michael has learned several times.
Put that little...
And once we're done driving them into the net, the hard work begins.
Grab them by the gill, right, with your index, but you got to get your fingers super deep in there or they'll just flop out of your hands.
It had been a couple of years since I gill-netted fish, and these large carp were a lot different than the trout in Yellowstone National Park. I kind of struggled at the beginning.
It's a
male.
It's a male, yeah.
Crazy these guys get so big eating microscopic organisms.
Yeah, just think how much they're consuming.
Yeah. And each carp can consume up to 20% of their body mass in microscopic organisms in one day. That is a lot of phytoplankton and zooplankton being taken out of the ecosystem for our native species.
I got him by the tail. Oh, there she goes. Man. Hopefully we get about a 60-pound big head. There's the secret to all this. Soap. Cleans the net, makes it slick, helps it come out better. So with this 24-foot deep stuff, you gotta spend just as more time
wrapping.
Yeah, pulling webbing in and keeping the webbing caught up as you do your lead line. This one is nowhere popped out. I'm surprised.
And to think, some people pay for this kind of exercise. Yeah. Kill myself either.
Yeah. Dude, they pay 15 cents a pound. Food grade fish. And then the fertilizer market is only 8 cents a pound.
And the state of Kentucky will subsidize 10 cents a pound. Then, after a long day of picking them out of the nets, it's time to transport them down to the market to weigh them and put them into the transportation trucks. Here in Kentucky Lake, there are all 4 species of invasive Asian carp. There's the grass carp, there is the naturalized common carp, the big head carp, and the silver carp. This is the reason we're here at Kentucky Lake in Kentucky. These guys have been taking over the aquatic ecosystems throughout North America. They feed primarily on plankton. Plankton is the primary food source for many native species, such as bass, crappie, in their larval stage. So these guys are in direct competition with all of the native species for their food, at least at some point in their life. Now, native species, they do grow up and they eat insects, they eat other fishes, they eat crustaceans. Not these guys. These guys eat phytoplankton the entire time. Now this was the size of fish that we caught all day, about the average size. Some upwards up to about 8 pounds. This one is about 3 or 4 or 5 pounds. Now fish this size can eat a lot of phytoplankton. It is when they become this size is when they become a major issue. This size of fish can easily outconsume any native species on the phytoplankton, putting them in direct competition with the young of many native species, the larval form of many native species. With a mouth that size, a lot of microorganisms can be consumed at one setting. This species of fish has a very fast growth rate, another invasive species trait. Fast growth rate, very large body style. They can quickly outgrow any predator that can eat them. During the young stages, these guys are prey to native species such as bass and crappie. But when they become this size, no native species of fish, hardly any predators can have biological control over them. So the only biological control there are the commercial fishermen. Now these guys were introduced by humans in order to clean up sewage ponds because they ate the phytoplankton out of them. The grass carp was also introduced at that time to eat invasive weeds, aquatic weeds, but now both have become an invasive species here in North America.
taking over the river systems and the lakes here. So with a lack of predators, unlimited supplies of food, outcompeting native species, this is truly an invasive species. It has all the characteristics that we're looking for in an invasive species.
The native wildlife aren't the only ones paying the price for the introduction of these fish. The sport fishing industry is a huge driving force for the local economies around the lake. With fewer fish being caught, fewer large tournaments are being held, and that means fewer fishermen dollars are being spent. All around, businesses and homes sit empty. It really is sad to see. Even the lodges that we were staying at said that they were selling due to the lack of business in the past couple of years.
And he told me years ago, if you don't do anything about those Asian carp, they're going to take over your lake. And that's what's happening. Yeah, I mean, the Asian carp is bad news. Our business has dropped off for fishing season, but so now we got to focus more on off-road vehicle area, golfers and hunters and land between the lakes and just boaters. Because our fishing's probably dropped off, what, 50%, babe? At least. Every year it's getting worse and worse.
It's pretty hard to fathom how one species can cause so much environmental and economic damage.
It's hot. I'm covered in fish slime and guts. I need a shower. And I definitely need a beer.
And after talking to a few fishermen, they pointed us to the perfect spot. The Dam Brewhaus in Benton, Kentucky. This cool little nano brewery is a local favorite to a lot of people. And we had a chance to meet several of them while we were there. And even they have felt the impacts of these fish.
I mean, people, all the fishermen that I know are talking about how they've destroyed the natural fishery.
So, have you guys seen a business, as a business, have you seen lower business because of these guys, because of the fish?
Not for us here as a brewery restaurant, but I know that like when I was growing up, which I'm 30, so when I was growing up, my first job was at Aurora Barbecue. It's the Mexican restaurant there that's on the corner by the only like little gas station in Aurora across from the Dollar General. And when I would work there, our summers were ridiculous because there were so many fishermen coming in. Like they used to do a lot of tournaments and stuff here and stuff. So I mean, at that point in time, there was a lot of business here for the fishermen. But over the years, like that all went downhill because the carp is what people say, or a fish plate.
Really?
To cook the carp.
Freight house.
Really?
Yeah, they sell it. It's on the menu. And that's what we need. We need to find a reason to harvest these
there
fish.
was one fisherman who owns High Tech up here off of 641, and last year before, he had started to put together this huge event where that was going to be the goal, was to have people come out and like help with that Asian carp problem. Like they were going to do like a big fishing tournament, and they were going to do all these things to help really just hit hard for this event to help out with that issue, because it's drove away a lot of the fishermen. A lot of the fishermen don't want to come out and fish the lakes anymore because the Asian carp is all they're catching.
I mean, I've got people complaining like crazy that they can't catch traditional fish.
Yeah.
So they've got it on their menu. And that's a 5-star restaurant in Paducah. That's a top restaurant in Paducah. And they've got it on their menu now. It's a lot of protein.
And like you said, we need to find a good use for them, because if they're just that's a lot of biomass being taken out of the system.
That's a lot of protein.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, we should absolutely be able to convert that into food.
At the Freight House, Paducah, a very posh restaurant, they have Kentucky bluefish.
Yeah.
That's what Mark was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And it's good.
Our brewer is a chemist, and so he is able to really slide in and give the appropriate knowledge as far as the reactions in the beer, you know.
The brewery that I'm a part of back home, our brewer is a psychology teacher at the college.
Also a good background.
Yeah.
So the business has been in place for 4 years. Yeah. 4-year anniversary was this past April.
Hindsight, hazy IPA. This is a really cool place.
It's so
Cool story too.
Right.
Yeah, very unique.
It's so unique. That's what makes it cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're a nano brewery, river. Instead of a micro brewery. It's so small. We went to the mash tun small, liquor tank small, full tank.
And with an environment like this, it's hard not to make new friends.
Background, just the lights.
Well, that's really cool.
Oh, cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you for letting me be a part of this.
Hey, cool. I'm glad you stopped by, man.
Yeah, me too. This car's good.
Better down.
Oh shit.
Swung around, run out, little tail.
Species, the larval form of many native species, bass, carp, buffalo. I said carp. Damn it, let's do that one again. Well, I'm not in Hollywood, but